He's a good-looking ex-footballer and was the heart and soul of English football for many years. But what about his skills? Debatable. Was he an okay player? Was he a great player? How influential was he for club and country? When you have model-like looks and are in the papers for all the wrong reasons, a lot of questions are raised about you. Sir Alex rates him highly, Fabio Capello had to eat his words and got him back into the first team, Roberto Carlos never shied away from talking him up. Even Zlatan Ibrahimovic managed to utter legible sentences about him. Beckham was not the best of his generation, but he was no slouch either. He could hold his own against the best and never shied away from putting the time and effort on the training ground. Cristiano Ronaldo took 3 years to get out of his shadow, and it says a lot. Before we begin, don't forget to participate in our lottery and stand a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is like our video, subscribe to our channel, and answer the question you'll find later in the video in the comments. Good luck, and may the odds be forever in your favour. David Beckham's career can be divided into 3 parts, starting at Manchester United and developing into a versatile midfielder, moving on to Real Madrid, and then finishing off his career in MLS with LA Galaxy. The once heartthrob of English football started out as a trainee at Manchester United. Sir Alex nurtured him and his fellow academy graduates into international stars, but it was Beckham who shone with his good looks, flowing locks, and penchant to get into the headlines. Paul Scholes was the biggest talent alongside Ryan Giggs, Gary Neville the future captain of United, but it all revolved around Beckham. He was truly the poster boy for Ferguson's work done in the red half of Manchester. There was no blue half then, so we can rephrase that. Ferguson's work done in Manchester, the Fergie fledglings, and a band of brothers who changed English football. By the time Becks left Old Trafford, he was already the finished article. He was captain of England, and he'd already taken the side to a quarter-final of the World Cup. There wasn't a change in his playing style, he just learnt to curb his enthusiasm, let go of his flair, and dumb down the extravagance to have an end product that matched the hype. No big deal. He was just relearning his trade at the biggest club of all time, and that too when they were under pressure to deliver. Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another exciting video on your favourite channel Goalside, which aims to force you into looking at the game very deeply and finding out things that you might not get to see anywhere else. We keep churning out cool stuff all the time, so if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like our videos, share them with your friends. If they argue with you about a particular topic, trust us, our arguments are compelling and might make them believers. In today's video, we're going to cover David Beckham. We all know he was a good player, good enough to become a Galactico. But how good was he, and what made him so good? The video will see us talk about Beckham's progression as a player at Manchester United and Real Madrid, how he came through the ranks at Old Trafford, and carved a niche for himself alongside Zidane and company. So let's start our discussion on the most iconic footballer of his generation. While the likes of Ronaldinho and Zidane did the talking on the pitch, Becks took the discussion off the pitch and got everyone's attention. Whether you're a fan or not, you have to admit that Beckham's popularity transcended the sport, and he single-handedly brought it to mainstream attention in America. Manchester roots and football development. Only the best became part of Sir Alex Ferguson's plans for Manchester United, and he was fortunate to have 6 youth team players with enough talent on their hands to fight for first team duties. Beckham was one of those fledglings. He had Gary and Phil Neville, Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs in company. Scholes and Giggs were supposed to be future superstars, but it was Becks who defied expectations. So did Gary Neville, but that's another topic for another time. With varying talents, this group of players had one thing in common. They had a work ethic that put their peers to shame. They had the commitment and determination to achieve whatever they set their sights upon, and the silverware they accumulated was a justifiable result. Beckham needs to be looked in the context of his surroundings, and his were not too shabby. He was an okay midfielder with a passable presence on the wings, and he worked on his traits. He spent many an afternoon practicing and training on his passing and crosses. That time put in worked, and it was not long before he could make a 50-yard pass with his eyes closed. And he liked to score goals and send thunderbolts from outside the area, not to mention the odd shot at goal from the halfway line. David was a 21-year-old when he scored his famous long-range goal against Wimbledon in the 1996-97 season, a truly iconic moment in the heydays of the Premier League. His traits matched with the tactics of his day. Send a long ball into your forward and hope for the best. United did that and had Dwight Yorke to settle matters for them. In his early days, Beckham's game was one-dimensional. He would go down the wing and whip in a cross. He was precise and would find United's forward players, and managed all this without ever being known to possess great pace. Ferguson liked what he saw and continued his development on the flanks, but the Scotsman was aware that his pinpoint accuracy can also be utilised from the centre of the park. and this is how Becks added another weapon to his arsenal. He could ping balls from side to side, and whenever an opportunity arose, sent one behind the defenders. Keep possession and send forward balls. This ability would later help him at the Santiago Bernabeu. In addition to contributions from midfield, Beckham was always good on the dead ball. Perhaps good is an understatement. Beckham was a dead ball specialist, so much so that even the fabulous Roberto Carlos had no qualms in sharing free kick duties with him. You only need to see that free kick against Greece and that iconic celebration to know that Beckham was the first player to become synonymous with the art of free kicks. Playing at Real Madrid and sailing off to America. Sir Alex knew Beckham had given Manchester United everything he had. He was at the peak of his powers and a true global superstar. Reining in the maestro was a difficult task, and it would only negatively impact the dressing room. So when Real Madrid come calling, he was willing to let him go. At the Bernabeu, Beckham was out of his depth. He was not a midfield general who could command the centre of the pitch. Neither was he a winger who could outpace the opposition. But he had a specific set of skills that allowed him to outmaneuver his rivals. Ronaldo was hampered by injuries, but he still had pace in the tank. At this time, Raul still was the marksman who put fear in opposition's hearts. Their link-up with Beckham was telepathic. This allowed the out-of-pace Beckham to add value in the Los Blancos lineup. In this evolution of his footballing journey, Becks became the brain of his side from a deeper part of the pitch. Zidane was free to roam in advanced positions while Beckham and company swooped from behind. He was a regista in essence, organising the midfield and using his long passes to deadly effect. It was a role that he'd learnt at Old Trafford and perfected in the Spanish capital. By the end of his tenure with Real Madrid, Beckham was a shadow of his former self. It was only his work ethic which allowed him to command a place in the starting 11. Even when he decided to try his luck in Major League Soccer and was ostracised by Fabio Capello, the Englishman did not let go. He worked hard on the training pitch and forced his way back into the first team contention. Real were hampered by injuries, but Beckham would have made the cut. LA Galaxy got golden balls at the tail end of his career. The England captain did not have the legs to trouble anyone, but his understanding of the game was superior. He had used his intelligence to get by at Real Madrid and used it to his advantage in his final years as a professional footballer. His passing accuracy increased and he thrived in the central role offered to him. What made him so good? Beckham had a footballing brain. He knew his limitations, but it never stopped him from achieving what he set out to do. His passing range was huge. Moreover, he was deadly from set pieces. He was the English Pirlo before Pirlo was a big name. And this iteration of Pirlo could send crosses that could trouble the best defences and lay up the ball to his forwards. Couple all of this with his extraordinary work ethic, the first to arrive and the last to leave. This was the case at Manchester United, at Real Madrid, at LA Galaxy, at AC Milan and with Paris Saint-Germain. Never one to shy away from extra duty and always willing to send some extra balls in the air, Beckham toiled away from prying eyes and it paid dividends for him. And now sprinkle this with good looks and a marriage that got him more fame than he had imagined. Victoria was a bigger name than David Beckham across the globe, and when they got married in 1999, they became the it couple. The Spice Girls faded, but Victoria's star rose, and she ensured her husband's global image continued to break boundaries. It did. Beckham was not the most talented footballer of his generation, but he was the most famous one. It's a generalisation which takes a lot away from Beckham's illustrious career. He won everything there is to win in England, the Premier League, FA Cup and EFL Cup, not to forget his 2 crosses against Bayern Munich, where he'd always be remembered. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the ball over the line, but it was the delivery from Becks that won United the Champions League in 1999. He's part of Man United folklore and that will never change. Domestic titles followed Beckham at Real Madrid, LA Galaxy and PSG. He was a Ballon d'Or runner-up in 1999 and got the FIFA World Player of the Year Silver Award in 1999 and 2001. He was the UEFA Club Footballer of the Year for the 98-99 season. Can you tell us in the comments which MLS franchise Beckham owns? Beckham was a gentleman on and off the pitch. It's sad that one of his rare moments of madness came at the worst time possible. England could have beaten Argentina, but one man down against any side, let alone a South American team, was going to be problematic. He's part of the English golden generation that failed to make their mark on the international scene. Not that he didn't try. He was the orchestrator-in-chief when England defeated Germany 5-1 at home. He ensured qualification for World Cup with that clutch free kick against Greece. Not everyone can win the World Cup, and you do not get everything you want. Fans and Becks will have to take this as it is. David Beckham was all this and more. The fact he got worldwide acclaim takes some gloss from his achievements on the pitch. He was in the newspapers for his glamorous lifestyle, as well as efforts on the pitch. Barring the 98-99 season, Beckham was the Premier League's top assist provider from 97 to 2001. There's a reason he was called Golden Balls. It's just easier to remember front pages of magazines and page 6, and this is why his footballing achievements go under the radar. Bex or Golden Balls or Dave, whatever you want to call him, was the sum of his footballing accomplishments and persona on and off the pitch, and this is what makes him so good. Endearing on the eyes with a workmanlike attitude, he married posh Spice and married into her tastes, but remained the same down-to-earth and wide-eyed kid who first arrived at Carrington, carrying a bag full of promises and big dreams.